Now let me ask you another question before I dive into
Mm-hmm.
the courting
Yeah.
part. Is there pre-work that you do as a coach with your clients in order for them to understand their wants versus their needs?
Heck yeah. We don't even talk about partnerships. And we don't talk about dating, at least definitely not in the first session and probably not the second session. The first session is definitely a focus on you as a person. In any relationship that you have had, you are the common denominator, right?
Right,
You
yeah.
and everyone, whether it was something your fault or something that was their fault, there was something that happened that played a part in that it had to do with you. So either you allowed to be chosen wrong, you allowed things to happen, or you did some things and you made some things, mess up within the relationship. So we talk about what you've seen at growing up
Yeah.
relationships wise. What successful relationships did you see? What unsuccessful relationships did you see? All of those things play a part in how you view relationships.
Right.
What are you looking for? How do you see the opposite sex? Why do you see them in that way? Let's talk about why you see them. Do you understand why you might need to deviate from this thought process because it's hindering you from doing what? So these are the type of questions that I have to talk to you about so that you can get an understanding first of what dating should actually be when you get out there. For me to be a coach, it's like I'm conditioning you. It's just like any other coach.
Yeah.
I'm conditioning you. I'm getting you ready. That first session is your stretch. I'm stretching. I'm getting you
Gotcha.
ready. I'm preparing you so you can really get the plays to get in the game and be successful.
Gotcha.
So the first part is always you. It's always you because we need to find out what examples you've seen, what you really think about love, and are you pessimistic or optimistic about it, and see what we got to do to get your mind changed.
Got you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Hey everybody, it's your girl DJ with Plan for Keeps Dating App and Podcast, and today I have a special guest. Katrina M'Marie is a coach and influencer who founded the No More Boyfriends movement, which holds both women and men accountable for the men in their lives. She imparts traditional values with a modern twist. She is also the author of the book No More Boyfriends. She wrote the book because far too many women blame men for their marital happiness. Joy comes from within, and knowing what you deserve starts with understanding who you are. Katrina M'Marie wishes to assist women who have given up on finding a fulfilling relationship. She wants them to realize that the way they view things has the ability to create the connection they want. And she created this book to give them the knowledge they need to do so. Today, Katrina M'Marie is here to speak about creating your dating process.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
You remember we came up with one, creating your dating destiny.
Oh, that's even better. See, I was like, dang, I hope I remember when we
Girl,
started
you was
recording.
doing the bio. You was doing the bio. I'm like, come on, girl, don't worry about that old bio.
Okay. So you are here to speak on that topic. But before we dive into that juicy topic, I'm excited to hear about your thoughts on just because I'm all about creating your life, creating the things that you want. So to get a deeper dive on how to create your dating destiny, like I'm very excited for this episode.
People forget that they are responsible for everything that happens in their life, including their dating life, their love life, anything that you want. You are the center of it. You are the beginning of it, and everything starts with you. So I think we think we leave our dating and our love life up to the other person.
Yes,
and it's their responsibility. But actually, you have the power to create your own dating destiny. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm excited to dig into that. But before we dig into that topic, I want to get to know the coach, the influencer. I want to talk about Life and Love magazine. I want to dig into all of the things, everything that you got going on before we dive into that. So tell us a little bit about you. Introduce us to you.
Well, I am Katrina M'Marie. I am a certified dating coach. I have been certified now a year and a half.
Okay.
But I've been in the dating realm, and people know me for, oh my God, maybe since 2018.
Okay.
Yes, since 2018. Since I wrote the book. I wrote the book No More Boyfriends in 2018, and it actually stemmed from a failed relationship that I thought was supposed to lead to marriage.
Wow.
I had been in this relationship for like 2 years, and this did not end in marriage. And I was thinking, what did I do wrong? What are some things that I could have done differently? So the book originally was a journal to myself, just notes and stuff. And then it just turned, as I started to read these notes, I was like, this is stuff people could actually use as they begin to date or begin to, see what's on the other side of different ages, different activities, different things that have happened to your life,
Right.
and get to the good side of dating. I was like, well, let me just put this on out there. And I swore, I'm gonna tell you, I'll never forget. After the breakup, I flew to LA.
Flew to LA.
Yeah, girl, I had to go. I had to get away. I needed to get away. I needed some ocean. I called my friend and said, hey, I'm about to fly to LA. And I'll never forget what I said to myself. I said, I would never have another boyfriend. Never. I will not do boyfriends. And that's where the book came from. I would not do a boyfriend because a boyfriend is a placeholder. Those are titles that are placeholders. Boyfriend, girlfriends. They're placeholders that especially leave women more committed than men do. And so what we do as women, because we're natural nurturers, we make boyfriends our husbands. We create that space for them without them even volunteering or saying they want to be there, because we have title and placeholders. And I'm like, no, just if you would just say, hey, this is my friend.
Yeah.
This is somebody I'm getting to know you. Then that not only solidifies a place in your mind of who they really are, but also to them, because they're going to get tired of you calling them your friend. My friend? Your friend? Yeah, you my friend. Like, what? And so then they'll step up and be like, you know what? I don't like that. Let me solidify who I want to be in this woman's life.
You know what? I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that. There's the book. I want to dig into stuff that you're also doing now as well before we dive into the topic. So you just launched your magazine.
Love and
this
Lifestyle.
Year. Tell us a little bit about Love and Lifestyle.
I'm so excited. I Love and Lifestyle magazine, again, was something birthed from what I do. Everybody knows me. Most people, well, you have to have known me for a while. I've been in media for years, at least since 2011. So I worked in radio. I've had podcasts. I had a syndicated radio show. So I've done a lot of the things, but I've always done media. My major was communications. I was a journalist. So I've always been a writer too. And having the opportunity to create a magazine to feature love tips and lifestyle tips and the way they tie together and really reset the way love should look, instead of all the different things that we see, the podcasts, the blogs or whatever, that really put love in this dim light but give you no solutions.
Right.
I wanted to have something that was solution based, and no better than be able to put it in print so you can always go back to it, or go back to an article, or go back to it on the computer and be like, oh, I remember this. As well as give you lifestyle opportunities, like going where to find your dates, where to meet people, where to go on dinner opportunities, to find you a good chef, all those different things, what to wear on your first date. So it encompasses all those different things that we need to have just to have a good lifestyle as a whole. So I was excited to be able to do that. And I think that's like my real passion right now.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I know I've been to a couple of the events.
Girl, we love it when you show up. We have such a good time. We have so many events that's coming up. Like in May, we are working on Big Hats and Brims rooftop party. For June, we have Love and Lifestyle and Manifest. It's where we're featuring the men in June. And so we just have a lot of stuff that I'm working on. And I just want Love and Lifestyle to be that place that you can be like, we know they're going to have a good time. We're going to be some great people and get to network. So because you've been to my events, those are good networking situations.
It was for me. The last one definitely was. And then even though the first one I went to was a great one too.
Yeah. So I just want to create opportunities for people to meet good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we can go ahead and dive into this topic.
Let's go.
Dating. I forgot the topic again. Lord, just
creating your own dating destiny.
Creating your own dating destiny. Okay. I want to know how that looks like. Creating your own dating destiny. We're in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And you know how they talk about dating in Atlanta is this, dating in Atlanta is that. I'm not going to speak on what they say because you're creating a fulfilling dating journey.
Yes.
What does that look like, especially with your No More Boyfriends movement? Because even me, to a certain extent, we're still attached to the courting phase. You're still kind of like my boyfriend, and then we move into that.
Right.
So just helping people change that lingo and all that stuff. What does that look like?
Lingo is important now. Let me start there. There are phases to getting to the marriage, right? Dating, I want people, if I can't say anything else to people about what dating is not a status. It is absolutely not a status. It is an activity. You should have no expectations during the dating phase. The problem is in the dating phase, because we've made up our mind about what we want, we actually create expectations in that phase where what we should only be doing is getting data, finding out who this person is, find out what they're like, find out if there's somebody that we can actually see in our life, even as a friend first. Like if you couldn't be a friend to this person, you definitely shouldn't want to be a partner with this person. So when you get that part out of the way and you understand that dating is just a status, it's just an activity. It is not a status. That there is no obligation in dating.
Right.
I am just meeting you and seeing if we vibe. Then once you get past the dating, that's the opportunity for you to go into your courting phase.
Okay.
This is what people say the boyfriend girlfriend phase. It's a more committed to getting to know you is what it actually is. It's not a full commitment, but I've committed to getting to know you. That means I've taken all the other people off the table to focus on you to see if we actually can create a life together. So that's what courting is. That's what people call a girlfriend and boyfriend, and that's where a lot of people get stuck because they call it a girlfriend and boyfriend, and then they want to make it almost like a marriage when it's actually not, because I haven't committed to you just yet in that full length, but I have committed to getting to know you to see and exclusively if we can be a partnership, and then after that it's the fiance. Like I'm okay, I've seen it, I want it, I'm about to, hey, let's get married. So I'm proposing to you. So now we're preparing for life. That phase is a commitment. You're not married, no, but you have committed to be committed. Gotcha. So it's the work to prepare. Now I think the longer the fiance phase is, the engagement, I think that's prolonging. You can kind of grow out of it.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be engaged longer than a year. I think it gives you too much opportunity to encompass and do other things. If you're really committed to this person, then that year is all you're doing is supposed to be prepping to be married, getting your finances together. Finding out what your goals are for the marriage, getting counseling to make sure that you're compatible to go into this marriage. So you're actually just preparing the footwork to get ready to create a life together.
Gotcha.
And then there's marriage.
Gotcha.
And that's it. And there's nothing too much in between that.
I got questions in between. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with with the dating phase. Definitely collecting data. That's what it should be about. So you can kind of date multiple people and you're not exerting out so much energy. I definitely agree with that. Now, how do you intentionally date while collecting data? Because there's so many women who will just be like, I'm just going with the flow. And sometimes while they're going with the flow, they're giving the man too much information. If that man is ill will, he might try to become a chameleon. What's advice to be intentional while collecting data?
First of all, is definitely to know what you're looking for.
Okay.
To understand what that looks like. I always say it's just like your path to losing weight, right? You want to lose 10 pounds. There's things you have to do to get to those 10 pounds. Gotcha. You have to be intentional about getting to those things, right? And so you have to know what it is that you're looking for and don't waver from that. And then you can't go in and start, I'm going with the flow. Going with the flow is definitely nowhere near a decision to do anything intentionally, because there's no instructions, there's no movement, there's just out just however the wind blows.
Yeah.
And so when you have no grounding, then you're gonna go however the wind blows, and anybody can convince you to go either way they want to go instead of moving the way you want to go.
Now let me ask you another question before I dive into the courting part. Is there pre-work that you do as a coach with your clients in order for them to understand their wants versus their needs?
Heck yeah. We don't even talk about partnerships. We don't talk about dating, at least definitely not in the first session and probably not the second session. The first session is definitely a focus on you as a person. In any relationship that you have had, you are the common denominator, right? You and everyone, whether it was something your fault or something that was their fault. There was something that happened that played a part in that it had to do with you. So either you allowed to be chosen wrong, you allowed things to happen, or you did some things and you made some things, mess up within the relationship. So we talk about what you've seen, at growing up
Yeah.
relationships wise? What successful relationships did you see? What unsuccessful relationships did you see? All of those things play a part in how you view relationships.
Right.
What are you looking for? How do you see the opposite sex? Why do you see them in that way? Let's talk about why you see them. Do you understand why you might need to deviate from this thought process because it's hindering you from doing what? So these are the type of questions that I have to talk to you about so that you can get an understanding first of what dating should actually be when you get out there. For me to be a coach, it's like I'm conditioning you. It's just like any other coach.
Yeah.
I'm conditioning you. I'm getting you ready. That first session is your stretch. I'm stretching. I'm getting you
Gotcha.
ready. I'm preparing you so you can really get the plays to get in the game and be successful.
Gotcha.
So the first part is always you. It's always you because we need to find out what examples you've seen, what you really think about love, and are you pessimistic or optimistic about it, and see what we got to do to get your mind changed.
Got you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So now the courting phase. Let's say your client, she in the game. She done did the work. She understands that energy is very important and how you present yourself in the dating scene is important. She done got somebody who wants to court.
Be with her.
Yeah, be with her. You know, he's dropping everybody and she's dropped everybody as well. Okay. Now, no more boyfriends. My question is, how does a woman, I want to say behave, but how would a woman act in the courtship phase that's different from maybe what modern day society would act in that courtship phase to marriage?
Well, so in the courtship phase, most people go again straight into marriage. So they forget to date the person, to gather more data, to get to know them in depth, to find out. Do we have the same type of goals that are lifetime goals? How do I feel about finances? How do I feel about children? How do I feel about your children or their children? Because a lot of times we're dating people that have children.
Kids, yeah.
What is your family like? Do you have traditions? Do you smoke? Do you drink? I mean, a lot of those things. Do your habits? Can I live with your habits?
Yeah.
Can I live with your sleep habits? Can I live with whatever who you are as a person, right? So in that courting phase, I have strictly started focusing on you. Also, I'm also catering to you in ways because I want you to know I care about you. Most people think that they try to say that you shouldn't do all of those things until you're married. There are certain things that shouldn't be done until you're married, right?
Yeah.
But there's also things that you should show, characteristics you should show to let the person know that you are going to be a good wife to them or that you're going to be a good husband to them. Those are the actions and the things that you display in that courtship. Because I know you like whatever it is. I'm out and I'll pick out stuff for you without having you ask me.
Okay.
I'm getting to know who you are so that there's things you don't have to tell me. I'm learning to have the hard conversations about when you hurt my feelings or when something happens. I'm growing emotional intelligence. So when you tell me about myself, that I can be like, okay, I'm not offended. I'm here to listen so that I can get to do whatever it is I need to do so that we can be successful in a relationship. So in that courting phase, there's a lot of intentionality about some of the changes that we've identified that need to happen in order to be successful in that marriage.
Got you. So from my understanding, what you said, dating is more about collecting data. And if two people like each other a lot, they go ahead and they start courtship. And then it's just more deeper discussions.
Yeah.
And more, it just getting deeper into knowing each other.
Right.
And without so much of, I don't want to say, because I know some people still move in together and then you start doing the, what do you feel about that?
I don't think while you're courting you should move in together because what you're now is creating is a house situation.
Right.
And too many people can get comfortable in that situation and you'll be stuck there. There are goals to marriage that are just beyond living together. Marriage is a covering one and it is a covenant too. And so in that covering, there's things that we have to remember. Yes, marriage is a contract. And you want somebody to love you enough to want to give you that covering of that contract, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
And so if you get to living with somebody and now you're just you're negating the contract. Like you're setting the contract to the side. You still want some of the benefits, but they're not obligated. They're not obligated to do those things for you because you're not in that position. So in that courting phase, you're setting yourself up to be this, or you're getting yourself set up to see if you can be this person's wife or if you can be this person's husband, right?
Got
And
you.
once you've decided that, yes, we are in agreement in so many ways of the way we live in our life and the way we feel about each other, and ready to do the work to continue to grow, that now I want to cover you and make sure that you know that I got you for life.
Got you.
So
Got you.
we skip steps or we miss steps, right? So and we get to marriage without being married.
Got
And
you.
it's just, when people say, well, that's a government contract, it absolutely is. But why not give that to your spouse so they will have that covered? You have to understand, if something happens to that spouse, that automatically goes to your husband. That automatically goes to your wife. Why would you not want to cover them in that way? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Your finances need to be blended so that you can take care of each other. Whatever that your health, like all these things are important to be able to take care and cover each other. And so in that contract that you've decided to give the person that you say you love and you want to cover, you should have no problem with putting that on the table and offering it to them.
Got you. I got another question.
Yeah.
Why do you think people fear the contract? Because mostly, I think that's what it is.
Because it's an obligation, a legal obligation, and you can't just jump out and leave with no ramifications like you could if you were just sitting there living together and courting me. You understand?
Yeah.
And so sometimes when people get into that, mostly men, when they get into that, they're like, "Oh my God!" The only thing they start thinking about is what I'm going to lose if this doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So what you should think about is, let me make sure this is going to work. Do all the efforts prior to getting married to make sure that it's going to work. And that way I don't have a fear of losing. What I know is what I have to offer is I want to offer to this person. And so I have no problem giving it to this person. If you have a fear of marriage, then you should have a fear. You're really fearing the fact that you may not choose correctly.
Right. That's always what it is.
You may not choose correctly. And so if you don't choose correctly, you're going to lose for not choosing correctly. So to rectify that fear, what you should do is make sure that you do the work to choose correctly.
Absolutely.
So the steps.
Gotcha. So you just leaned into my next question. So the pre-work, as I'm calling it, when you're working with people, as far as like making sure they're not pessimistic about dating, making sure that they go in with the right energy to date and be able to play that numbers game to find that person. What type of work do you do? Like, I know you kind of named a little bit, but going in deeper, like how do you help them change their mindset? How do you like different tips and things that you might, if you give homework, like what would you do or what would you be comfortable leaving?
Well, the first thing I do is I definitely want to hear what you feel about the sex that you're dating, right?
Okay.
So if it's the opposite, what do you feel about women? Why do you feel that way? What experiences have you had? So when a man comes in and tell me all women do this, or a woman comes and say all men do this, the first thing I want them to do is list the women or men in their lives.
Oh, and okay, the women in
their lives. So the moms, the grandmother, the pattern of women that they've had in their
Okay.
lives, or the pattern of men that they've had in their lives,
Okay.
and put down the characteristics of those people.
Oh, that's a good
So
one.
they can look to see what they've seen, which will help me understand why they think the way they think.
Do you run into men? You'll have them list all these people, and none of the characteristics are anything that they've projected out, and it's just more so maybe what they've seen on the internet, or maybe they've seen a homeboy go through it, and it's more so trauma from those angles, more
Yeah.
so themselves.
Yeah, so yes, every time it hasn't been that they've had a bunch of bad women, right? It's that they've had a bunch of bad experiences.
Okay.
And so now because they've had a bunch of bad experiences, because let me go back to as a man having only a mom and no man to really be in their life. Their mom was great, right? They had
Yeah.
a great mother. The mama raised them, did everything for them as far as she didn't, she loved on them, took care of them, probably, oftentimes they overly took care of them. And so his ideal woman is somebody that's going to take care of him. And he's never taught to take care of anyone or a woman. He's only been taught to be taken care of. So understanding that as a man in that place, right, is created to take care of a family. He hasn't been prepared to do that because he hasn't been taught to take care of anything. He's only been taught to be taken care of. So when he starts meeting women and the requirement is, hey, I want you to take care of me, that's foreign for him because he needs somebody to take care of him. So he's not even in his right position. And now every woman that he meets, he think is wrong when in all actuality, he hasn't played the position that he hasn't learned the position that he needs to play to be a good partner.
Do you break it down to him just like that?
Just like that.
Yo, how do they take that?
It's hard because people don't want to hear. Accountability is hard.
Yeah.
People don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to see themselves as wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of times we want to see ourselves as victims.
Yes.
Yeah, so we want to be like it's so-and-so's fault or whatever, because if we have to see ourselves as the one wrong, now we have to admit that, hey, the things that's happening to us is really on us.
Right.
It's really on us.
And then doing the work can be so hard, too, once you put those two and two together.
The only reason why the work is hard is pride. There's no reason for the work to be hard. It's just correction. It's just correction. Why would you not want to do what you need to do in order to get better results?
I think I feel so. I agree with you. I agree. My friend who's helping me, we have conversations like this. I'm so stuck on how the subconscious mind works, though, and how we flock to what's familiar. So if you're
often.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with a certain thing, like, okay, the men, for example, they're used to their mom taking care of them. Then they have to break this pattern. It's like, is it really pride, you would say, or is it the familiarity of the thing?
It could be both, but a lot of times when it's time for you to look at yourself, it's oftentimes pride, right?
It's definitely ego.
It's definitely an ego thing because you got to admit that you was wrong,
yeah,
right? So that part is oftentimes pride.
That's true.
The resistance usually comes from anything when you have to do something over. It's hard.
Yeah.
When you gotta lose weight, it's hard. You hard starting over. Oh my God, trying to get started, that's hard.
Yeah.
There's patterns you have to break. There's things you can't do anymore. There's things you have to look at yourself and be like, dang, so that's hard. That work is hard. It gets easier though with repetition.
Gotcha.
So I tell people, yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's not gonna start tomorrow, but the more you do it, you'll start to see results not only in the type of relationships you have, but in yourself, the type of energy you have. You'll start to look at yourself and you'll see the changes, and you'll just start to feel better.
Got you. Okay. Before I move on to ask you kind of what you see in the women, for the men, like that was an amazing example. What tip do you give to a man like that once you've broken that down for them? They're like, man, like what do you do to help them push through and actually be okay with women who require them to, you have to take care of me?
Well, so the first thing they got to realize, first of all, they just got to realize that that's it, right? Yeah. There's nothing I can do until they realize that the work has to be done.
Okay.
I'm always there to support the things that you need to do. Like I can only do so much. Again, I'm a coach. I can teach you to play, but you got to play them out.
That's fast.
Like I can give you everything that you need, but when you get out on that field, you have to execute, and it's on you to execute. Gotcha. And so if I teach you whatever I teach you, you get out there, you fumble the ball. That wasn't me. I taught you what you need to do to hold on to it.
Gotcha.
You just got to come back, reset, start over, and do it again.
Got you.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to know that when you go out to play this, you got to play with your best foot forward in anything.
That's okay.
You've learned the fact, you've learned the what you need to do. Go do it.
Got you.
Just go do it.
And then for the women, like this is just me assuming because I'm not a coach that directly works with women and men in dating. But when women come to you and you have them kind of do that exercise if they're pessimistic about dating, and they write down the men in their lives and the characteristics, like what usually comes up?
Oftentimes it's absent fathers or absent father figures, if it's that side. Or the biggest thing that I'm telling you that I agree with men is women are so entitled.
Okay.
Women feel like because they're women, yes, and I'm saying it, that entitles them to everything that a man has to offer just because they're a woman.
Okay.
It does not. When nobody's asking you about the 50-50 of what you bring to the table, but you do have to be something that man wants to take care of, that he wants to cover, right?
Okay.
And that can't be just because you're a woman or you have good vagina or you look good, or, because women, we're being conditioned by what we see on social media about, because everything is so superficial, that my looks
Yeah.
or my education or whatever is enough for you to want me. No, you have to know what the man is looking for, especially the particular man that you're trying to get to know. And then you have to see, are you able to be what he needs? There
Gotcha.
is an exchange, and women have a tendency to believe that they just have to show up, and that's not true.
I want to pivot a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you said something where a woman is dating a man, and he kind of presents what he's looking for and needs, and she can see if she can show up in that way. How does a woman not lose herself in trying to show that she can be this person for a man while dating, or should she? It should just be a shoe in.
No, you don't even have to be anybody different to be what the man needs. If who you are isn't what the man needs, that's not the one for you.
Then back away.
That's not who's for you.
Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure we pointed that out, because some people will get it confused, because I know a lot of women, including me in the past, felt like, okay, this man wants this, and this. Let me live up to this, and this. And some of the things were me, but then some of the things weren't me. And I was bending backwards and trying to prove myself. And I know that's unhealthy too.
Well, make sure first of all, though, who you are is good character, is good cattle, whatever that is. Make sure that who you are and the person that you are, because sometimes we get stuck in, well, this is just me. Well, who you are is messed up, ma'am. Sorry, that's not cool. Nobody who wants that. It could just be you. So you're going to keep getting the same results, right?
Gotcha.
So when you show up in that phase of this is just me, nobody has to accept just you.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
And again, you're asking somebody to come in, cover, protect, provide, and whatever for you. You got to make sure that who you're asking, you can be what they need you to be. If you can't, that's not the person for you.
And that's it.
It doesn't change who you are.
Yeah.
Right? So if a person comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for somebody that's going to be a little domestic and cook or whatever, I can't, no, it ain't my thing. But if you're covering me in ways that allows me to do that or whatever that is, I can do it. That's not changing my character. That's not changing my position. That's not changing who I am as Katrina. All it's doing is just having an avenue for you to satisfy you. And I have to understand that if I'm partnering with somebody, I have to be able to satisfy that person. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think so. I want to clarify. I think the men I've dealt with and the men probably your clients have dealt with are totally different calibers.
Maybe
and
that.
I think because where my mind went was men who didn't have their stuff together, they want you to bend over backwards, and then you. Yeah, so that's why. So
those men shouldn't be an option. We are fixers. Good women are fixers.
Yeah.
We try to build things.
Right.
We try to see a project, and we're like, if we fix him up like this, then we
right.
So we have to come out of that nature. I was that person, and I have to be very careful not to be that person, because fixing people feeds me. It makes me feel good.
So that's why I was like, let me ask further questions, because that's how I am and in relationships. But I would get with the wrong type of man who needed a whole lot of fixing.
Because in relationships as a woman, neither one of you should be trying to fix anything.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be things. We're not going to come in 100% complete, right?
Yeah.
But we do come in with enough of, I'm not going to say potential, but enough assets as a person that we're adding something. Yes, we may need to put this here, do some adjustments.
Yeah.
Adjustments are fine, but we shouldn't have to go in needing somebody to fix us at all.
Right.
So if you find somebody that you got to fix, then that's a problem, and you really have picked up a child more so than a partner. Okay. And so you will never be able to get what you need from that person because you're so busy pouring that they don't even have the capacity to pour into you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I said, let me ask further, because there's some women who probably listen to this podcast from somewhere where I was, and that's where I was, fixing Bob the Builder, because of my childhood. I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Yeah. That codependency and all of that stuff.
And we've seen it. There hasn't been any books or guidelines on how to do relationships, especially prior to now. Now we got to remember, our parents didn't have podcasts. No. They didn't have counseling, really. They just went by what they went by, right? They followed the pattern of their mom. They followed the pattern, the grandma. They followed just the pattern of the neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? And so there was no even going back and talking about how you feel.
Right.
You did. And women in that time were getting married not based on how they feel or if they actually even love, because, women, we can learn to love and care for somebody.
Yep.
But what we got in relationships for oftentimes was for the covering and the convenience, and because we weren't working like we did, we weren't making the same money.
Yeah.
We need a household. You couldn't buy houses sometime without the men. So that was
Right.
just a timing thing where we didn't have the same assets as we do now. Now that we have the assets and the accessibility to so many things, we don't have the patience
Yeah.
to work through certain things that actually could be worked through. Because now we're like, you know what, I don't have to take this because I don't need this, ma'am. It's not all. I need us to stop boiling relationships down to the physical provisions of what comes with that relationship. We keep forgetting about the emotional provisions.
Right.
We keep forgetting about the companionship.
Right.
We keep forgetting about the person that's covering us when we're sick. We keep forgetting that we're actually healthier and happier when we're in relationships, and people in relationships live longer. So we keep forgetting about those health and mental benefits that come with a good relationship, because as soon as we get in there and somebody doesn't have something physical or superficial to provide, we're out.
Got you. Okay. So before I dive into these cards,
Okay.
A tip that comes to mind for creating your dating destiny in a positive way for men and women. What you got for us?
What do I have to do that?
No, just a tip of how one would create that.
Well, first of all, you don't entertain what you don't want to have. Too many times we'll meet somebody and we'll say, "Hey, I'm looking for a committed relationship," and you'll meet somebody that's like, "Well, I'm not. I'm just kind of going with the flow," and you will continue to entertain somebody that's going with the flow with the pretense of, "Oh, this is not going to go anywhere. I'm not doing anything wrong. I can still just hang with this person."
Yeah.
Even without the sex, you have to understand the presence and the companionship does still create connection.
I can agree with that.
It absolutely does. The more your energies exchange, right? So the more you're with somebody, the more, especially if they're giving you feelings of what you want to feel, even if they're not committed to you, men are good and women are good with making you feel good.
Yeah.
And when you get that endorphins of making you feel good, you start to relate that to being in relations and seeing yourself with this person, right?
Yeah.
So just don't, when you see someone you've met someone that's already told you, "I'm just trying to figure out my dating goals," swipe left, child.
That's a fact.
Keep going.
Got you. So I'm going to dive into these questions as a part of my podcast segment.
Yeah.
So in what ways could one show you unconditional love?
I just think just showing up for me. Really, unconditional love for me is showing up for me, letting me know that you got my back. I need a person because I'm in doing so many things. I just need somebody to be like, "Babe, I see you, I got you. If you run out of gas, I got you." The three words you can say to me that's better than "I love you" is "I got you."
Gotcha.
So show up for me in those times when I ask you and in those times that I don't. I am a words of affirmation and acts of service type of girl. So you do those things for me and you good.
Gotcha.
Yep.
What is something you have tolerated that you won't tolerate anymore?
Inconsistency.
That's a big one.
Inconsistency. Trying to make excuses for the reason why you're not doing something, the reason why you're not showing up. Yeah, maybe you were busy, whatever. I'm no longer doing inconsistency. If you don't show up, then I'm going on to the next.
Okay. I'm going to put a spin on this question.
Okay.
Just a little bit, since you're a dating coach. The original question is, how do you feel about people depending on you and why? But what I want to ask you is, how soon should one feel comfortable with somebody depending on them within the dating and courting phase, and then why?
I think you shouldn't. Well, let me say this. As much as we would like to say I should be able to depend on you, and you should, there is that thing. The obligation of that should not start until, I would say, definitely courtship, nothing before courtship, and probably more so in the engagement phase.
Okay.
Being able to depend on you is definitely important. And when I say depend on you, it's like, again, making sure that if I have something going on that I can call on you or whatever. But that's something that once you've seen a person, because you have to trust somebody to be able to depend on them. There's a level of vulnerability that has to show up when you need somebody to be able to depend on. So once you've gotten to the point that you truly trust this person, you can feel like that you can depend on the person.
Got you. If you could be remembered for one thing from a past relationship, what would it be?
Um, that I showed up, that I was always there, and I don't think you could call any man that I've been in a serious relationship with, and I want to say 10 out of 10, but I'll give myself some. They're gonna be like, oh no, that was a good one. I lost in that when I left that we whether it was timing or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I showed up for my people. I always do, because this is what happens. You give what you want.
Yes.
So I always showed up. If they needed me in whatever way, I always showed up.
How did you not get burnt? I feel like through that, like,
I got burnt. I did.
how did you not? Well, let me rephrase that. How did you move past that and continue to be that person? Because there's so many people who get burnt and then they react in a totally different way. It changes them.
It's a mindset thing. It's like knowing that you have to get up tomorrow. It's like knowing it's not over. The fact is, I believe in love and relationships. So just because I have a bad experience, and it can be a real bad experience, does not mean that there's not good people out there.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that, and your results come a lot with how you think.
I agree.
Right. So you have to remember, your mind creates your atmosphere, your thoughts. It creates everything that you're looking for. So the more you say that there's no good men or there's no you're not going to encounter those things. But the more you believe that you will create an atmosphere to meet the type of person that you're looking for. And might not be tomorrow or the next day, but you're still shaping the atmosphere to prepare yourself to meet the type of person that you're looking for.
I agree, because with the words that you put out there, your actions just they just follow.
They follow.
That's just how
Absolutely
it works.
do.
Just to make it more like on a logical level to people who don't believe in creation and manifestation. That's a true thing. Like the things that you put out there, the words that you say, your actions do just naturally follow.
I have somebody that's always about, I want to meet somebody, but they never go outside.
Right.
Who you gonna meet?
Or they say, I want to meet somebody, but then what else do they say? What are their like core beliefs in men and stuff like that? It just shows that you don't really believe.
But you can't. My thing is, when I say you want to meet somebody, there's an effort that goes with that too.
Right.
Like if you say I want to meet somebody, but you're waiting for somebody to show up, or you're just only doing online dating on the first 3-4 online dates, you're like, I'm not doing it anymore because I had a bad experience. Then you're not setting your mind.
That's your mindset. Yeah,
you're not setting yourself up to be successful. You have to remember, when you're online dating, you are accessible to at least 10 times as many people that you were just being outside back in the day or regularly, right? So you're going to go through more people because there's more people to go through. So in order to get to that quality person, you're going to dig through the... And I always say, you'll probably go through 21 good people or 20 people to get to solid 21, right? Be okay with that. Just don't stay in a place too long. That's what happens with people. We get in a place, we meet somebody, we know it's wrong, but we kind of tired and we don't want to be by ourselves, so we're going to kind of work on it. So this is a square, but I'm going to try to get it in this rectangle because I think if I shape it, if I work at it, it'll fit.
Yeah.
And you'll just be there and wind up, look, 5 years later, you're like, damn, I'm still in this unhappy place trying to make this person be something that they don't have the capability of being. When I tell you, just keep it moving. Facts. Keep it pushing.
Facts. Okay.
Yeah.
How does one know the relationship is over? I know you talked about how, in this generation, we quick to just say F it and all of that stuff. How do you know, though, when the relationship is over?
You know when you did the things and you've gotten no results. Once you've done the work and the results, the results still haven't gotten you to what you want, and then you're both not putting in the same effort to get there, even if you're still in it and the other person's not, it's over. Because you can't make them love you the way you're feeling about them. And we'll keep trying and trying and trying and trying. Meanwhile, the other person's already gone.
Right.
So the lack in effort, the lack in interest of even trying is usually the indicator that it's over. If you don't have those compatibilities, you don't want to spend time with the person. You're just like, you know what? I could care less if they call or don't call.
Yeah.
When you start getting those feelings, like you know, you don't even care if they come over or not.
Yeah.
You don't care if you see them. It's no big deal.
That's
Usually that's
when
an indication that it's over. Now you can have. I always say you can have the talk. I think you should always, before you end anything, have a clarity talk. If that person doesn't want to talk about it, then it's over. If they do, and you guys sit there and you talk about it, and the conclusions are just that it's not going to work, then it's over. Gotcha. Now, just because it's over doesn't mean you're going to be over it tomorrow or the next day or 2 weeks from now, because as long as it took you to get in it, it takes usually half the time to get out of it. Gotcha. So if it's been 2 years, it's going to be at least a year or at least 6 to 8 months, because you got to unlearn the person. Stop being. Remember, your body has been conditioned to expect that person. Your mind has been conditioned to have that conversation, and there's been things that your body and your mind and spirit have been conditioned because this person has been in your space. Yeah. All that stuff you have to detox from. That's not a tomorrow thing. Mm-mm. Some people say the way to get over a person is to get under another one. It's not. It's really not. You're just gonna be under there still with the other person on top of you. So now you're in a sandwich. You're in a threesome. Now you're in a threesome and didn't even know it. And so I just think the more we learn to take time, and I'm not saying that it's easy. Just because I'm saying what needs to be done doesn't mean I'm saying it's easy to do. Yeah. I'm just saying it's the work that needs to be done.
Absolutely.
And you might mess up along trying to do it. That's okay. It's okay. Just keep trying to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want anybody to think that their healing journey is a perfection journey. You don't, there's nobody that's healed perfectly, and there's nobody who is healed without having 2 steps back when they made 2 steps forward. You know what I'm saying? It's just the effort to keep going until you get there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got one more question for you. And this is whether you're in a relationship now or a past relationship, what you've learned. What do you need to improve, learn, or stop doing to be in a successful relationship? This is maybe something from the past or even present if you're not in a relationship right now.
I love hard and quick because I'm a Gemini, and I see when I see something I like, I want it, right? And I just want to pour into it because I'm like, honey, when I get with you, because I really did feel like, and I still feel like that, honey, I'm the best thing that could ever happen to you. So you don't need to look any further. I still do that. So I have to pull back and do the work to walk through, because if I see something, I think, oh my God, I want that, girl, I'm gonna go get it. Ooh. I'm telling you, I had a habit of seeing somebody and telling my friends, I'm gonna get him. And get him. I was gonna get him.
I'm a Sag and I have a similar trait.
If I seen any man, and I didn't feel like any man was off the table. I know, you may be like, well, I'm not a 10. I'm not, girl. I got rolls and all that good stuff. I don't care who it is. If I saw him, I get him. Because the one thing I know how to do is get a man. And I know I do. And I actually know how to keep a man, but sometimes my pride don't let me and I be over it. But because there's some pride things you have to work through in order to keep somebody, because you have to put yourself kind of in the back with a man, play the ego. There's some things.
Yeah, that's something I'm learning. Yes. Learning or figuring out if I want to do that's a struggle. Okay.
Yes, but you have to find out if this person is worth giving those things to, because there's things you have to feed a man the same way that he has to feed you, right? Absolutely. And you have to be willing to do that. But I've never not been able to get anybody that I've wanted. And I don't, I don't know where it go. I'm just telling you, if I wanted them, I could get them. So my problem was like getting them and being like, okay, this is it right here. And not taking the time to really do the steps, even though I know the steps. Gotcha. So I have to make sure that I reel myself back in, and that's a steady work. And so we have to understand what our vices are. Yeah. I know what my vice is, so I have to do the work to be very slow, very intentional, because I want this one, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna make them do the things, and so that's my thing. That is my toxic trait. So there it is.
Gotcha. So I know we talked about certain things I was coming up with the magazine. What other projects do you have going on? Where can an audience member find you, maybe if they want coaching or they're interested? Like, how does all of that work, and all of the things. What you got going on?
Okay, so KatrinaMarie.net is normally where you can find me. My website is being revamped. I think you can still go on there and sign up, though.
Okay.
If not, you can always DM me in my social media. Katrina T'Marie is my Instagram, or Katrina T'Marie Curtis on my Facebook. But you can always DM me. We can set up a session. Those sessions can be in person or Zoom.
Okay.
However you want to do it. I do have a free 15-minute consultation right now that I'm doing for the summer. I always do that for the spring and summer because I know people are getting outside or whatever. So I want to teach you how to be successful in the summer months. So when cuffing season comes, you're ready to go. You know what I'm saying? So I do have those opportunities out there. And then I'm creating with Love and Lifestyle, I'm creating events so people can meet people. Good people can meet people. So with doing that, even what we just did recently, I'm doing like the rooftop party with Big Hats and Brims, where people can meet good people, because I feel like that I have a core of great people that I know that can meet some great people and that can really get some great relationships and friendships. And I want people to understand, do not underplay or downplay friendships now. Do not. If it starts off as a friend, people trust and get to know these friends, and that takes you to a different, or creates another foundation that most people don't have in their relationships, which make it last longer.
Yeah.
So that my goal is to create events, create atmospheres for people to meet good people, so that you can get those relationships. When you say you don't know where no good people are, well, then I'm gonna set up situations where people can meet good people.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I'm going to have all of those links in the show notes. Oh, my God. I want to thank you so much for making the time to come
please.
on.
I've been saying, girl, let me come on. We need to stay on top.
I'm glad you finally came through.
Thank you.
This was a great conversation.
Thank you.
Yes. I want to thank all the listeners and the viewers for tuning in. Don't forget to download the dating app Plan for Keeps. And until next time.